Hey, welcome back. Today I was going to show you our new garden over here. The challenge that we have in this area is we have no irrigation. So I thought with my experience with some drought tolerant plants, I was going to attempt to do a big impact but low maintenance garden. So let me take you along and show you over the course of a few days and many weeks how we sort of plugged away at this project. And we will catch up at the end and I will discuss all my plant choices. Of course, my definition of low maintenance might be different than yours. My goal for this area was, like I said, drought tolerant plants, plants that don't need pruning or maybe just once a year. No fertilizing, no messing, no fussing. Just a garden that kind of keeps to itself and is tidy on its own. Enjoy the clips and I will see you at the end. So I'm so grateful that my husband did the retaining wall. He is so much better than I am at that. But you also saw me sort of plugging in the plants, cardboard mulching to suppress some of the weeds, and then of course some cedar mulch on top just to make it a little bit prettier. So the area itself is about 25 by 25. Like I said, this is sort of a main area of our yard. To the left of me is our driveway, the carport we're seeing all the time. So I did want this to be a pretty corner of the property, even though, like I said, there's no irrigation here. We do have a garden hose that can reach from the house. I do plan to water in this area very, very well in the first year. So the plan is to do some infrequent deep watering. And the idea behind that is to encourage the root system to go down very, very deep. So if you're using a large amount of water infrequently, it's definitely going to train those roots to go down deep, and that is what I want. We have other areas in our property that are also not irrigated. Some gardens that were started before we came, and they do fantastic because I think when they were originally planted, that sort of method was applied, and these plants have developed a very deep root system. So of course I will be having to weed this area, minimal pruning like I said, but it is pretty much done. I do have to sprinkle some grass seed down here. This area we do sort of keep just grass and we cut it short, so I'll have to weed whack and trim that, but that's something I would typically be doing. It's just nice to have one more area sort of finished up. Okay, so let's get a little bit closer and look at all the plant choices that I made and sort of why I chose them. Okay, so you can see I plugged in these irises. I thought that we needed a sort of spiky interest. Plus I have these growing in our secret garden just to the left of the camera. And they needed to be divided and dug up anyway, so I thought, why not use them here? I've tested them. They were here when we moved in, and they have done great with no watering, no care, so I think they'll be a great option for this bed as well. And then also we have some Machanthus grass, and this is the variegated grass type. I'll put on the screen the size and the zones because I don't know them off the top of my head, but I will add that for you. And then we have 3 of these barberries. They do really well in our area. The deer don't bother with them because of the spike, but they just add that color interest that I love. I think every garden needs some burgundy. And then we've got some viburnums here. The deer have been nibbling these a little bit, but I am confident that they will do fine. I've got them in another area and they can sustain a little bit of nibbling and do fine. And then we have 3 Miss Kim lilacs, which stay a little bit smaller. Catoni aster at the back there, which will become sort of a larger shrub. Actually, at our old house, we had a whole hedge of these and they were so beautiful. The fall color that they give in the fall, of course, is a beautiful show. Plus they get berries and blooms for the pollinators and birds as well. And this here is a columnar birch, which does give a beautiful colored leaf. You can see it has that red tone on the newer leaves. The beautiful thing about this tree is that it is columnar, so it will be a little bit more narrow, but a very tall interest. I'm hoping it'll sort of fill in and cover that one drain pipe. My husband doesn't love it there, but I wanted it there, like I said, strategically to sort of water in this bed when we do get big dumps of rain. And this blue spruce was here when we got here. I am not sure what it is. I'm hoping it's a baby blue. Because otherwise, if it's the typical Colorado spruce, it's going to be massive. So we will see. I really hope they put in a baby blue, but we will see how big it gets. And this tree here was a volunteer maple that was given to me from my father-in-law. It's more of a space filler, so I'm not sure how it's going to be. So I'm not sure how it's going to get. Maples can get quite large, but we're not sure what it is. So if it does get too large, I'll just use it sort of as a space filler for the time being, just so that it's not an empty corner until some of these other things sort of fill in. And then lastly, we have a dwarf Alberta spruce. These are probably one of my favorite evergreens just because they're deer resistant, drought tolerant, and they stay nice and tidy. You don't have to prune them, and they stay a little bit smaller too. I think they top out at 7 or 10 feet and only 4 or 5 feet wide. So perfect evergreen interest for this area. And then on our neighbor's side, we have some borrowed trees as well. So this is a birch that is beautiful. Love it. I think it goes with the theme here. So I tried to keep to greens and blues and reds because I think that's a very complementary color palette. Those are some of my favorite colors in the garden. Of course, I could have added yellow and then you would have all 4 colors in the garden, but I'm quite happy with how this looks. And it's quite nice to have an area that is sort of done. Don't really have to worry about it. Of course, just weeding, once a year pruning, and then watering as needed. Well, thank you for joining me on this new garden bed. It's so fun to share with you all these new spaces. Now I have to make a plan to take care of all these new gardens. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.